A memorial service is similar to the funeral service, but the body is absent, and it's sometimes necessary if the body is not available or if many friends and family members were not able to attend the funeral. A memorial service can be organized in any place of your choosing, and it can be done even sometime after the loved one has been buried or cremated. In fact, a memorial service is often organized on the anniversary of the death or the birthday of the loved one that has passed. And the advantage of a memorial service over a funeral service is that it can be done after the most raw emotions are over and the worst stage of grieving has passed. And that allows you to organize the memorial as the true celebration of life. Think of the memorial service as a party honoring the life of the departed loved one. It can be done in any place he or she loved, such as a beach, a garden, a boat deck, a mountain summit. It could be done, it can be anything from like a memorial barbecue to a solemn church or a cathedral. It's really your choice, and whatever you think that person would have liked. And get several people to prepare short speeches, to talk about the life of the departed person. Get the music that he or she loved, bring his or her favorite flowers, invite all the people you think he or she would love to see, people who are important in their life. And if you're serving food during the memorial service, you might want to choose your loved one's favorite dishes. Generally, it's best to stay away from alcohol. Not everyone can hold their liquor, and you don't want to have any incidents at the memorial service. The memorial service can also be organized around the release of the ashes if your loved one was cremated. One thing to keep in mind is using music during a memorial. Music is the language of emotions, and it affects us profoundly, even when we're not completely aware of it. Music should be a vital part of any funeral or memorial service. It will offer comfort to the bereaved, and it will bring memories of the departed loved one to life. Funeral services with religious affiliation will dictate the choice of music you can bring. Funeral homes usually have excellent sound systems to help with. If you have no preference as to the kind of music to have, a funeral director can offer appropriate selections. Live music can be performed by a family member or by a well-known musician. That's always welcomed by the bereaved. Or usually welcomed by the bereaved. You may want to ask first. You can buy appropriate funeral music online, or you can download it to your computer. Some very common ones, and this may not apply to your taste, just generically more common, are Amazing Grace, or Ave Maria, Mozart's Requiem, Candle in the Wind by Elton John, things like this. All sacred hymns, and New Age music can be used. Most of it sounds sufficiently solemn. Music for the memorial service can be quite different. While memorial services held in churches will demand more solemn kinds of music, other types of memorial services offer a lot of freedom to choose the kind of music you find appropriate. It can be the favorite music of the departed loved one, even if it's jazz or punk rock or whatever. It can be music performed by their favorite composer or musician, or it can be soothing, the sounds of guitars or piano. It all depends on the atmosphere you want to create. Memorial services are celebrations of life, and that life often means happy music. So just think of your loved one departed, smiling or tapping their feet to the music that you're playing. Flowers. Flowers are a traditional part of the funeral or memorial service in all cultures and religions, and they can bring a sense of beauty and elegance to the proceedings. They're often very formal, but they can also be the favorite flowers of the departed person and can add a personal touch to the ceremony. Traditional funerals have their own protocols when it comes to flowers. Like opening, or the viewing of a body requires a special flower piece that's placed on top of the coffin, which you can kind of see on the top left here. You may have a funeral service that requires a wreath on an easel, and as well as a special formal bouquet on its own stand. So you can see an example of sort of like a wreath bouquet here on the top right. Flower wreaths are often sent by close friends, relatives, and business associates as a sign of respect, condolences, but you may want to find out if it's fitting to the family who's holding the memorial or funeral to see if they want flowers at all. Floral wreaths can be made fresh or of artificial flowers, and while artificial flowers last longer, the real flowers are generally much more appropriate. Flowers, especially formal arrangements, are typical for funerals. They're often very costly, and families prefer that that money may be spent to benefit a charity close to the heart of the loved one who passed. So these are questions you should ask the family. If you are the family, they're decisions that need to be made. Sympathy flowers can often be sent to the home, often with a sympathy card, maybe pots of live flowers or plants. That's also very appropriate to bring comfort to the bereaved family. Or instead of flowers for the funeral, you might want to opt to plant flowers or plant a tree or something of that nature in honor of the loved one that has passed in a public place. And that can often be a touching symbol of the life well lived. And these are just some initial tips on these beginning stages of grief and this grieving process, but it doesn't really take you to where you want to be, which is acceptance. Finding acceptance for your loss is the ultimate end goal of grief, and I show you how to get there at transformgrief.com through step-by-step exercises that help you navigate the stages of grief in a productive, positive way. And the site really holds your hand, taking you from this sort of negative mindset of loss and sadness into much more positive pastures where you can really start feeling good again. So make sure you visit transformgrief.com right now and start feeling better again. You can move towards a place of healing. You just have to know the right actions to take. And I show you those actions at transformgrief.com.